Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Rick9G. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to be looking at I Love Lucy. Thank you so much for the support on my channel. If you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It does help out my channel so much. And hit that notification bell. It's now subscribe and notification bell. That's how YouTube has upgraded now. It's the way to let you know about videos so that you don't miss any notifications and get right to the content. Alright guys and gals, today we're going to be talking about the first episode of I Love Lucy. How did that work out? Now if you look at all the episodes, you'll note that the first one is The Girls Want to Go to a Nightclub. Now that was recorded and filmed on September 15th, 1951. What you may not know is that the first episode ever recorded was Lucy Thinks Ricky's Trying to Murder Her. And that was filmed on Saturday, September 8th, 1951. In this episode, a misunderstood conversation makes Lucy think that Ricky's trying to murder her. We're going to focus on this episode today. Most importantly, we're going to look at the behind the scenes. What happened that led up to the filming of this episode? Were the actors nervous? Were they happy about making this episode? You'll be really surprised at all the behind the scenes info and some things that you will be absolutely surprised and shocked about. Now let's start with Vivian Vance. Of course, she played Ethel Mertz on the show. She was particularly nervous for the first episode. According to her, she was scared to death when they did the first show. She revealed this after some time. After all, according to her, she'd only done 2 movies and wasn't accustomed to working with one camera, much less 4 of them. They used 4 for this particular episode, not 3, as most of the series did. The reason for this was they thought they could get more shots, but it ended up being a mess. 4 were just too many cameras, so they decided to go with the traditional 3 for the second filmed episode. Lucille Ball herself sensed that Vivian Vance was scared and went out of her way to set her at ease. Lucy got her laughing so hard before her entrance that Vance didn't even have time to remember that she was so frightened. This is the type of person that Lucille Ball was. I want you to really go back and think about this. As the audience filed into the studio, they were never thinking that they were about to witness the birth of a legendary show, a show that would be called the greatest show of all time. It took place on the bleachers. Desi's orchestra was ready to go, and under the direction of a man named Wilbur Hatch. Even Desi Arnaz refers to him in Lucy Does a TV commercial. He says, "Mr. Hatch," and then he directs him to start the orchestra. Again, as the audience continued to file in, they had an appropriate Latin number playing in the background. Jess Oppenheimer urged Desi Arnaz to go out and warm up the audience. So he reluctantly went and did it. He was given a mic and he started for center stage. He didn't get very far. Surprisingly, I didn't know this, but when I learned it, I thought it was absolutely amazing. His zipper was undone. This was something that was amazingly recalled by Herb Brower. Now I'm pointing this out just to show how nervous he was. I mean, these were human beings who were doing the show. We set him up on a pedestal, but it's great to know that even then, on this very important day, his fly was open. The zipper on his tuxedo pants was stuck, and the more he panicked, the less cooperative the fly was. Desi was very nervous, so according to reports, someone else volunteered to get it unstuck for him. Once this was corrected, Desi strolled onto the set and proceeded to ad-lib his way through warming up the audience and getting them ready to the show. He welcomed them and explained to them the nature of this new system. He had a few corny jokes that he used, and then he introduced his co-stars, Bill Frawley and Vivian Vance. The pair were greeted fairly warmly, especially Frawley, whose face has been familiar to the audience from doing older vaudeville and as well as some movie. The band began by playing Elliot Daniels' new theme song. Desi introduced the star of I Love Lucy. You could see her gorgeous red hair flying up and down and fluttering. She went onto the stage having so much confidence as she always had. She waved to about 300 people. She kissed Vivian and Bill and threw some special kisses to the back row of the grandstand where her mother was. Desi's mother as well was in the back, and the writers were there nervous. They didn't know how the audience would accept this show. Suddenly you heard the voice of Mark Daniels, who was the director at this time. You could hear his voice overhead from the control booth intercom, and he said, "Please take your places." It was now the moment of truth. The Arnaz's careers, particularly Lucille Ball's, were on the line. And you know the rest, guys and gals. The rest was history. They played a brilliant show. However, this episode wasn't without the hiccups. I should probably cover that in another episode. This was just giving you the idea of what led up to the episode, talking about Vivian Vance's nerves, focusing on Desi Arnaz and how he was nervous to begin as well, so much so that his fly was undone. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick look into the mind of these fantastic actors beginning the first ever show of I Love Lucy. And we began to see this show and immediately loved it. So I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you being positive as always. You always leave such wonderful comments and such wonderful support to me and the channel and the community as well. And I do sincerely appreciate that. We'll see you next time, guys and gals. And don't forget, be hopeful.